There's a point of every photographer's career when they come across a situation. They're taking a portrait shot, limited light. They take the shot and all of a sudden they realize the highlights have been blown. The detail across the subject's face is no longer visible. It's completely gone. No context. And what we find in photography is that we can always lift the shadows. But once a highlight is completely gone or blown, we can't recover it. So what a lot of photographers learn in that situation is you learn to protect your highlights. And what I mean by that is you expose the image for the brightest part of the subject. But when you do that, something inevitable happens. More shadows creep into the image as you close down that overall perspective. A lot of beginners believe that they try and expose the whole image to be as bright and as balanced as possible. But the professionals realize that there is depth in the shadows. It's the shadows that offer the context. And it's the shadows that tell the truth. If anything, the shadows offer framing and allow the eye to be drawn to the part of the photo that you want to protect or preserve the most. I'm up here today to tell you about one of my shadows. A number of years ago, I had found myself in a position where I was in a lot of debt. It wasn't necessarily debt that had been construed through luxury buying or anything else like that. It had been in a position where I had fallen victim to almost a financial service or system that's almost subtly set up to create debt and fees for people's positions. A number of purchases that I had made almost trying to get the extent or the pleasure of other people or the approval of other people. But unfortunately it came to the point then that the credit cards had started building up. The fees that I had to pay on those credit cards grew and grew. Unfortunately to the position where I found that the fees that I had to pay on a monthly basis were more than what my revenue was. I felt like there was no way out. But fortunately for me, I was able to find one. Photography had been a hobby. It is something I'd started to begin with, something I'd learned more about. But to that point, it had just been a paid hobby. But I realized that if I wanted to get myself out of that situation, and more importantly, my family out of that situation, I had to lean into an opportunity that I had. I had to learn to take photography from just a hobby and make it into a career. What that meant was almost stepping out of my own shadow, making myself more visible to people, to learn how to run a business instead of a hobby. But also to make myself visible so people could see who I was, that I could promote myself and put myself out there. Now what that situation taught me, it's given me one of my mantles that I stand by to this day, that I can take more from a challenge than I will allow the challenge to take from me. Because what that teaches me is that I can turn any situation into a position of opportunity. That no matter what life throws at me, and life will always throw us difficulties, that I have the strength to face that head on. And it always reminds me of the bison. It's the only animal in the world that walks headlong into a storm, because it knows the quickest way through a storm is straight through. So then I realized that I had to live by that. I had to embrace that challenge and turn that challenge into a strength. I had to take more from it. And along that way, I came across an idea from Japanese that they believe in wabi-sabi, about the perfection in imperfection. Wabi means simple or basic. Sabi means touched by time. And why I like that is because within the scope of personal brand, it's about embracing the imperfections. Finding the things within your journey that really separate you. The things that make you important. The things that make you different. And the things that have etched you with the resilience you have today. We're almost now in a world where everyone is painting out their perfections. They are painting out their highlights. And in essence, then they're losing the contrast and the context. Because there is no shame in shadows. They are not a disqualifier. They are not going to allow people to put you down. With the likes of social media, we find that the expectation of perfection is greater than it ever has been before. But with the idea of perfection becomes paralysis. What if someone sees a fault? What if I put that out there and it's not perfect? But there's also the idea that perfection is almost self-sabotage as well. And not just through the paralysis of fear of not looking perfect, but as they say, it's the sharpest knife is easiest dulled. Or the highest perch has the greatest fall from grace. Sometimes look at perfectly etched personal brands, and one typo can stand out like a sore thumb. We're all being judged in our own heads on what people may think about us. So if I can offer you anything today, it's hopefully the beginning of a belief that everything that's happened to you up to this point can serve you. That when you try and just paint out your perfections or your highlights, that you're losing the real context. Because there is no trust in perfection. No one believes truly in perfection. In particular in the age of AI, where everyone is questioning almost the final product. And what I like about the Wabi Sabi is when it says touched by time. Anything of any value takes time. It takes time to be built. And lived credibility in your story is what really sets you apart. It's that which makes you different. And it's that gives you the credibility to be trusted by others. So in going forward, by all means, protect your highlights. They deserve to be showcased. But offer the context of how those highlights were achieved by being able to document and take pride in the shadows that you have faced along your journey. And allow them, too, to give you the opportunity to take more from your challenge. Thank you very much.